I didn't want to make this video. I'm not a YouTuber to begin with. I wrote this script between calls at my ambulance base. This line of script is being typed as my medic partner is watching a movie, and I'm sitting here thinking, am I really going to do this? I'd rather be writing my book or drawing some concept art, but here I am. The answer is yes. Watching this scene was flat out disturbing to me, a feat not easily accomplished thanks to my line of work. And not for the reason you might be thinking, but I'll get to that later. First things first, I need to lay some pretext for this video. I haven't played Suicide Squad because I don't have to. And frankly, this kind of uncleanliness is against my religion. There will be those people who accuse me of being a hypocrite because I refuse to touch this gross amalgamation of code, estrogen, and greed. I don't care. This video is not about the unpolished and buggy state this abortion was released in. That's any AAA game these days, so nothing special there. Also, I'm not a political person. That is to say, I can tend to be a razor with my opinions, but modern politics are like that of 5th century Rome. I'm not about to sacrifice myself for the divided states of America, especially because half of it hates me because of my skin color alone, never mind my stance on a godly life. However, if the gaming industry, or whatever else, wants to put something out there with blatant propaganda, everyone has a moral obligation to throw verbal fruit. Therefore, here we are. Lastly, I'm not going into the full history of Batman, just the relevant stuff. Batman has 50 different versions for every one of your girlfriend's personalities, so I'm keeping this confined to the Arkham version of the orphan goth boy. None of that Gotham War or White Knight sewage. If you get mad moving forward for any of the points I warned you about, don't say I didn't warn you. As an aside, this video isn't really about Batman, but we'll get around to that. Feel free to have at me in the comments, by the way. The more flames, the better. The conservatives want civil discourse? Let's show them the limits of freedom of speech. Now, here we go. DC is a unique bird when it comes to its brand of justice. Unlike Marvel, many of its heroes are centered around the notion that taking a life is a line best uncrossed. Punisher fans, eat your heart out. I'm only the messenger. This wasn't always the case, but Batman has been the poster boy for the no-kill rule more than any other hero within DC or Marvel. Arkham's version of Batman is one of the most serious about this. Of course, some people hate this about him, claiming that he's murked some goons from the brutality shown off in-game, but canonically he's clean. Arkham Batman will not kill. Scaring and bullying aren't off the table, but he won't take a life. In truth, Bruce Wayne is a deeply broken man who only desires to rehabilitate Gotham's worst, as each one, in some way, is a reflection of himself. Batman is extremely flawed, yet the objective fact that many choose to ignore is that no one else is willing to sacrifice what he's willing to. For as much love as he gets, there seems to be just as much hate coming his way. Many folks want to flagrantly misrepresent his war on crime, acting like he's the one in the wrong for roughing up the baddies, or alternatively, not blowing the head off every criminal he sees. These critics also don't think about how Bruce Wayne doesn't have to do anything at all. He could let the city burn while he retires in a penthouse, safe in Metropolis. Another critique I've heard against Bats is that he projects his moral code onto everyone else.
And the main thing that people want to zero in on is the fact that he has a no-killing rule and everybody jumps on him but no other superhero. The main reason people call him out on it is because he projects his own morality onto other people and expects them to follow it.
This one is particularly enjoyable because every hero who has ever been written projects their moral code onto those around them. I'll admit, the argument can sometimes get dicey on both sides, especially considering that Batman is written differently in most iterations, but again, not the point. Regarding Arkham Batman, he's shown himself consistently doing his best to turn Harley Quinn around, and to some extent, even the Joker. Batman spares their lives countless times. He saved them from harm. When Joker knocked the life-saving vaccine from Batman's hand, Batman admitted that he still would have shared the vaccine. Like it or not, he epitomizes mercy. This makes it all the more upsetting that the writers of Suicide Squad treated him the way they did.
You're gonna die screaming at Superman's feet.
Why? What's up with his feet?
I don't know, man. We're 2 for 2 on killing your boys so far.
Ah! Love makes it worth the pleasure.
You think you're a team now? You're herd animals, dependent on someone else to survive. Like you, Harkness. An illiterate alcoholic who's desperate for the spotlight.
And Floyd's a deadbeat dad. Sharky's a freak who'll never be a real boy, and what was it? Oh yeah, I never was too bright. Get some new material, jerk off. You know, Joker used to be real good at hurting people with words. But you, boop. Even when you're evil, you're still too good. You had a good run, Brucey. Flying around Gotham, punching bad guys, cleaning up the streets, causing long-term mental and emotional damage to everyone you knew. It's our turn now. After all we've been through. Oh. Bet you didn't think it'd be me at the end, huh, Bats?
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta end on your best joke.
This video is not about Batman. I wouldn't even say it's about his death here. I've watched countless of my favorite franchises and characters be dragged through the mud. They're fictional. Yes, it bothers me, but at the end of the day, I expect nothing less from the creatively bankrupt minds in Hollywood. However, in this instance, I was unsettled for a singular reason, and I'll do my best to articulate it. Harley Quinn is a psychopathic serial killer who is just as guilty as the Joker for her innumerable crimes against humanity. Batman had a front row seat to many of these sick and inhuman actions, yet he chose to spare her life. Now, when Batman is completely out of control of his own mind and essentially defenseless, Harley Quinn thanks him with a lecture about the ethics of his character and a high-powered bullet to the face. If you are incapable of seeing the irony behind Harley preaching to Batman, there remains no hope for you. I won't go into the fact that Batman was treated as a joke throughout the game either. In the end, a tribute was given to Batman about the late Kevin Conroy. To me, this made it even more pathetic. Here's something you might not know. Most writers are ideologues in some sense. I know because I am one. Writers insert themes and messages to share their inner thoughts and beliefs. This is really nothing new. This is the lifeblood of the best stories. When this is done well, it can be an inspiring and wholesome experience that can help someone get through times of struggle. With Suicide Squad, the writers have nothing but contempt for heroism and goodness which took the form of Batman in their story. The Suicide Squad were treated as heroism and goodness in the context of this story. This came from the minds of real-life writers. That is what disturbs me. An anecdote before we continue. Don't misunderstand me when I speak highly of the character of Batman. There are times he's absolutely hypocritical in his own story. Even one of my favorite versions of his character, the one from the animated series, is totally wrong in a few episodes that end up treating him as though he's perfect. Take Season 3, Episode 9, where the Warden of Arkham, Lyle Bolton, fixes the institution as to ensure none of the inmates can escape. Granted, he's fanatical about it, going on to brutalize and terrify Batman's rogues gallery to keep them in line. However, The episode depicts Lyle as though he's a far worse villain than any of the unhinged murderers. As though he's going too far by, to quote Harley Quinn, taking away their privileges. The episode sees Batman put a stop to him, and we never see Lyle again after this. It's funny how Batman is allowed to do far worse to his villains in the animated universe, but heaven forbid someone fix the cardboard prison of Arkham. Also, Harley Quinn, later on, aids in torturing Tim Drake, a child, mind you, but Lyle doing his job too well is the real threat. In all fairness to classic Mandy from the clip I used before, there certainly is a lot to criticize about Batman. I think he makes a fair point. Besides, in the end, he's just a fictional character, so who really cares? But I don't believe many modern writers see fiction that way, considering just how offended they get when one of their pets is underrepresented or marginalized. Understand this. It isn't Batman that the writers hate. No. They hate decency. They hate noble sacrifice. We see this with how one of the game's protagonists urinates on the Flash, turning the death of one of the most pure DC heroes into a joke. Batman was just the character that caught the most attention because he's beloved. What the writers mean with Suicide Squad, with this propaganda, is that sort of West Coast American egoism that looks down upon others, specifically those who don't fit their labels. They hate white, straight men, and if they can't get off on that, any male will do. Further, I think that traditional goodness is an enemy to these people. Who can blame them for thinking that? The standard hero of this generation is a snarky narcissist who bullies those who don't share the same party lines. Or the ones that are vulgar and undisciplined for the sake of a flippant laugh at things once held sacred. When characters like Deadpool rake in so much coin for the multi-billionaires, the logical conclusion is that the mistreatment of olden values is marketable. This brings me to Sweet Baby Inc., the company behind the writing of this abomination. You may also know them as the fatherless, overpaid, fetishist women and male bottom feeders behind the new Spider-Man 2 or the ludicrously overpraised God of War Ragnarok. I won't even speak on those two. Anyway, I believe their website claims that they are inclusion-driven. That's just a way of convincing clients that they are ESG friendly, but it would seem that some of these people are a different breed of disgusting. The reason I'm convinced of this circles back to Suicide Squad's blatant loathing of all things just. While she callously shoots the one man who tried to redeem her, Harley Quinn is brought to tears by Wonder Woman's demise. The point should be clear if your chromosomes total 23. Wonder Woman carries that reason in her very name. She deserves the honorable, sacrificial send-off by virtue of her sex. Urinate on the Flash. Lecture Batman on morals, and then shoot him in the face. But Wonder Woman must have her moment. There is agenda to all of this. Hours of evidence can be showcased if I had the time. I won't get into Wonder Woman though. I've never cared much for her because she's been a consistent propaganda piece for DC. I bring her up because of the awful double standard this game has, and is further proof that the pigs behind this writing deserve a heckling. Suicide Squad is full of this terminal brain cancer of modern debauchery. It sets itself against toxic masculinity so aggressively that not even Rocksteady's cash cow, Batman Arkham, can escape. Just something I've got to say about the banner. Just because you're part of the alphabet cult doesn't make you a hero or deserving of any level of praise. That's ridiculous and disassociated with reality. To illustrate the point further, I've heard countless healthcare workers claiming to be heroes, and that's just retarded. I'm no hero for being an EMT, neither are they. It's a job. Anybody calling themselves a healthcare hero is a narcissist, plain and simple. More than likely doing it just for the money. Even so, with that said, they have far more right to claim heroship than someone with nothing more than a sexual deviancy. At least, the former is doing something to contribute to society. And just remember, the writers behind this game are paid egregious amounts of money to put forth this filth. These soft-handed millennial creeps rake in exuberant sums of income from people they hate and look down on, so that billion-dollar companies can grow more powerful. These AAA tax write-offs are released unfinished so that they can suck even more by way of useless cosmetics in an online shop, which, ironically, is usually the only thing that works in the game. All just so that these overstuffed writers with no measurable skill or talent can brag about the money their slop generated. In many ways, I see why this lack of integrity is paving the way for AI to take over to replace creative positions. As much as I hate it, quality is so far gone that AI was only a matter of time. The sickening transactional way of America never did prioritize the brilliance of creativity, and now look at it. People are hungry for a good story, but there are few to be found. In turn, Generation Z lives to consume trash. Some don't even have a conception of what quality is anymore. Morality and art must work together to achieve the greatest peaks in culture. That's simply not happening anymore, especially with the most amoral and greedy grifters running every corner of business and politics. Everything is relative. I believe that's clear now. I am no YouTuber, nor do I care about making money with this. I have no plans to make videos beyond this one. If this video gets any views at all, I'll be shocked. Feel free to comment and let me know what you think. Now I've got to get back to work. I've got 3 young children and firefighting on the horizon. To say that I'm a little burnt out from these 80 to 90-hour weeks is an understatement, but what gets me more is when I lose focus of what's important and see the dystopia we're living in. I mean, the divided states is a nation that openly encourages the abuse and neglect of children in many instances. Easily accessible television shows depict sick-minded sexual deviance before the youth with complete immunity. I couldn't care less if YouTube decides to censor this video. It's no skin off my back, and it gets tiring seeing all of these so-called God-fearing conservative commentators. Frankly, they talk and act more like late 2000s liberals, cowing to every whim of the Overton window to say they're standing with advertisers, at the same time having you believe they're true patriots for the cause. I'm neither conservative nor liberal, but I hate hypocrisy, grifting, dishonesty. YouTube won't like what's been said in this video. Let them do what they want. I believe everyone deserves integrity, even up to my worst enemies. How can such integrity exist if I allow tyrants running these systems to gatekeep my honest thoughts? I'll impart this to you. Know that there are those who won't bow the knee to the image of the beast. You are not alone. Yes, millions hate that which is good and moral, but not everyone. Keep moving along. Be strong. If you don't have others to be strong for, then be strong for yourself. You have this. God bless.